Welcome back to the Friday edition of Beers and Buckets, the only podcast where we discuss beer and college basketball. Like we said earlier in the week, we are splitting our episodes into two. So this is just how we're doing it now. It's a little bit easier, these shorter episodes for you to enjoy throughout the week. And so, yeah, before we go any further, Dowell, how's the second half of your week been?
It's pretty good. I don't have any more work to do. We're recording at 3 o'clock on a Friday. I'm pretty much done with work. Don't tell if any one of my work colleagues are listening to this, I'm absolutely going to work. But no, got some Friendsgivings this weekend. Just got to get prepared for those. Probably heading to the grocery after this. So, excited about our part 2 of the week. What about you?
Yeah, today was my day off, so mowed the yard, replaced Christmas lights that were cool icicle lights versus the warm ones that my wife wanted on the front of the house. So I put those in the back and went and got some new ones for the front that look better. We're going to this. It's called Robert's Christmas Wonderland or something, Emporium or something like that. So basically, it's a big Christmas store that's open year round, cool. And I'm excited for it because we went last year. It was really cool. We have some friends that we're going with, and then we're coming back. And I making chili right after this. Gonna have that cooking while we're gone, and then have a fire. So I'm excited for it tonight.
That's a front for a cult. I'm convinced.
No, it's awesome inside. Like, it's crazy cool. We do this tradition where every year we pick a new ornament to put on our little tree in our bedroom, and so this is where we're gonna go. This is where we are going to make our new tradition now, is go there every year and pick one out. We also do an ornament from wherever we travel. So even if it's in middle of summer, if we travel somewhere, we pick an ornament there as well. So fun little cool thing to do if and when you ever have a significant other to do that with. There you go.
My family does that. Way to call me out for being single, dude. My family does that. So every year we get to when we go to put the ornaments on the tree, we get to talk about all our past trips.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Last year I got a Smokey the Bear ornament that I put on. So I'm excited to see what they have options this year wise, but they have sports, they have everything at the store. So it's crazy. All right. Before we go any further, speaking of buying things in sports, Home Field Apparel, sponsor of the show, sponsor of Variety Sports Network. So use promo code Variety Sports at checkout for 15% off your first order. If you haven't bought anything there, they have a bunch of deals coming up for Black Friday. So definitely check it out. You might be able to combo some of those. No guarantees. You didn't hear it from here if it is true or not. So, but yeah, definitely check it out because their stuff is awesome. I have a list of shirts I want from Home Field on a notes app. So if anybody asks what I want, I just send them this list and say pick one. And then once they pick one, they remove it from the list. It's okay, easy. That's what I'm going to do in this year because I love Home Field shirts. They're awesome.
Big fan. I have one of those and I have one of board games. So
yep. Board games are great gifts as well.
Yeah, they are.
For sure. All right, let's get into the show agenda. So we're going to do a quick recap, some of our favorite things from Monday through Thursday. And then we have Shark Tank upsets. Dow's going to review a beer for us. And then we have the betalytics.com pick'em games of the week, or games of the half week, I should say, a weekend. And then last call. And maybe Dow will throw a question or trivia question in there for us.
Ooh, no, I come up with a favorite question.
Yeah. So we'll get in there. So I'll while you're doing that, I'll kick us off on the Monday through Thursday favorites. So yesterday, Mizzou over Minnesota, absolute barn burner of a game. Mizzou went on a 31-9 run to close out the game and win very close, on a buzzer beater, basically. Don't think either of these teams are very good, which is a little disappointing for my SEC rankings because I had Missouri kind of higher, middle of the pack team. Maybe a little bit higher because they were a decent squad last year. They finished 4th in the conference last year. they've taken a step back. I mean, obviously, you lose with Kobe Brown. That's a huge loss. He's contributing to the NBA now. But yeah, Minnesota, I didn't think looked particularly good. But they still had like a 20-point lead over Missouri at one point. So Missouri needed a 31-9 comeback rally to win the game. I just think both of these teams are lower on the expectations this year. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Dawson Garcia did not have a great game. 16-9 essentially. But yeah, I mean, he's the only person worth watching on the Minnesota team. Mizzou, Sean East went 4 for 12 from 2, which he probably won't do all the time. He definitely is like one of their more important players. So I feel like it's kind of fluky, but cool to have the third biggest comeback of the year with a 20-point comeback. So, but I do like who's our coach? Dennis Gates. I do like him, so I feel like they might be able to start figuring stuff out again.
Yeah, I definitely think they're on the right track, and they're still building a program. I think they just outkicked their coverage last year, and so their expectations are a little bit higher than what they should be this year.
Probably.
So yeah, that was a fun game. And just a side note, we could talk about the Champions Classic forever, but I feel like that's been overplayed. We're here to kind of talk about some of the other things that other teams that might not get a lot of media love. So even though we aren't a big J journalism media podcast, it's still we want to talk about and give some light on some of those
deep cuts.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you got for us?
Yeah, my first is a callback to my pitch from last week, but Wright State almost upset Indiana. Feels kind of weird to use an almost upset as one of my callouts, but they ended up scoring 80 points on Indiana, lost 89-80. My thought process for how they would beat them was correct. They just let Indiana shoot 32 free throws, which didn't.
In Assembly Hall, that's going to happen all the time, though.
True.
So.
Yeah, that kind of offset they had 40 rebounds, 14 offensive rebounds. So they did what they needed to do on the offensive glass, and actually shot 42% from 3. So, hence the 80 points. But yeah, the free throw discrepancy and Indiana shooting 67% from 2 kind of outdid them there. So might be on that one, but still a fun game to kind of check in on. And Khalil Ware, I know who you were super high on at the beginning of the year, went 9 for 11, had 22 points and 12 rebounds.
He's a monster. I feel like right now between him and Trey Galloway, they're relying so much on the experienced guys that it's taken Mackenzie Mbako and some others some time to adjust to the game. So I do think Indiana's going to get better. Yeah, they're going to get better. I just think the ceiling for this team is not as high as maybe we all thought that it was going into the season, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I have another one I want to highlight: Michigan over St. John's. And as we are recording right now, it is 4:07 Eastern time. St. John's is losing by 10 to Dayton with 47 seconds left in the Shriners Charleston Classic. So this isn't. St. John's is just not as good as people hype them up to be in the preseason, which again, it is what it is. But 89-73, Michigan just put a whooping on St. John's. It was further than that too. Obviously, there was some late game shenanigans to kind of close that gap from St. John's, but Michigan has looked way good. Doug McDaniel had 26, 6, and 7 on that night. And it's on a team that who the heck is Doug McDaniel? He looked great. Absolutely. They had 148 offensive rating. That's crazy. He had 28% of the points. It's pretty good. That's the high. That's a game high, or the second highest, 159. Will Tesher. He had 18 or 10 points, but whatever. Doug McDaniel. Yeah, he also played 38 minutes. So 38 minutes, 28 points, pretty good, or 26 points, pretty good. They just look good. I will say for St. John's, they have some some bright spots here. Joel Soriano's looking good this season. I'm glad I picked him for my Big East team because he's definitely looking good. Everybody else just kind of needs to step up. Jordan Dingle's doing okay. Dennis Jenkins doing fine, but nobody's doing what they thought that Chris Ledlam. I mean, he had 4 points in this game.
The Kentucky tight end plays basketball for St. John's.
Basically, yep. The Jordan Dingle Penn transfer. Penn upset somebody this week. Who'd they play this week? Who'd they upset? Now I gotta go find it.
Out of the 15th ranked team. That's a bad Penn 15 reference.
Yeah.
Oh, they beat Villanova?
Yes, that's who it was. I knew they upset somebody. Yeah, it was Villanova.
Is Villanova cooked?
It's trending that way. We'll see tonight. Tonight they have a good matchup.
Someone please help Justin Moore out. Justin Moore went 25-7-3 and just got obliterated, buddies.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good for Nova. And we'll talk about them in a little bit, but yeah.
I only played Lance Ware 7 minutes. That's their issue. They just gotta play Lance Ware more.
You need to get that bruiser on there, man.
Lance Ware.
Yeah. What else you got?
I have a team that we're both really high on that we called out last week in a matchup. I think we both picked them to win, but knew that it was going to be a high-scoring game, and it definitely delivered. That is the Creighton Blue Jays. They scored 92 points in 75 possessions versus Iowa. That is insane. Trey Alexander was one assist off of a triple-double, which is always obviously very impressive in college basketball. Also noticed that in modern basketball, obviously the three-pointer is the thing that breaks math. 3-point attempts per field goal attempt is something that you want to be high on. They are currently 7th in the country. 51% of their attempts are threes. It's also funny, though, because their opponents seem to not be getting the memo, which you would think if they're shooting a bunch of threes, the competition would also do that. But they are first in opponent 3-point attempt for field goal attempt. And opponents are only taking 18% of their shots are threes. And I'm like, you gotta start doing, it's not very hard math to realize that if you're going to beat Creighton, you have to be able to keep up with them scoring wise. Yeah. So you probably should just actually shoot threes, because that's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny that not only are they one of the most prevalent 3-point shooting teams, but they also somehow no one's taking threes against them. So very interesting, bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out, and it's not playing well for the other teams.
Gotcha. I had on my last one here on these favorites, Fairleigh Dickinson over St. Peter's. Great game. Came down to the wire, 1-point game there. Fairleigh Dickinson with the upset over St. Peter's. Just the whole aura that they got going on. I love it. The rebrand that they did, they beat Purdue, got a bunch of money. They were able to upgrade their facilities. At one point last season, they were watching film in the shower, which is crazy that there was no other place that they could watch film on that campus. They couldn't go to any classroom or anything with a projector, but no, they had a TV cart, a projector cart, and they were projecting
shower mirrors, shower film.
I makes no sense to me, but here we go.
Weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Again, not a major university, but a bigger than a community college, I'm sure. And community college definitely have extra classrooms with projectors available. But either way, they have their own film room now. They were able to take that one win and just turn it into so much for them. And just, like you said, there was the Purdue hate club over there. So yeah, it was fun. Good game.
Fun to see the matchup against St. Peter's too, which is the ultimate upset game.
Yep.
True. I know we said that we weren't going to really touch on the Champions Classic, but got to mention the heat check that was Robert Dillingham, who hit 4 threes in 2 minutes, and one of them was an absolute just bold as shit heat check that just was cash. Then I thought he was going to shoot another one, but he ended up passing it to Antonio Reeves, who hit it. It was just a wild stretch. It was I'm sure that this is recency bias, but like I can't remember a more electric stretch of basketball that I've watched one of my teams have outside of that. Like maybe going back to like the Kevin Knox year where Kentucky came back from that giant deficit against West Virginia at West
Yeah.
Virginia. That might be the last time I was like, oh, this is like crazy and I can't believe this is happening kind of stuff.
For me, it's probably like it's up there with the Kentucky scoring 107 points against Tennessee and at Rupp when Tennessee
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like that was really fun, and people forget about that one. But yeah, that was just like Ty went crazy that game. Yeah, Ty went crazy that game. But yeah, no, that Kevin Knox comeback at West Virginia, we were down 17 at one point. Incredible stuff. Yeah, this stretch was really fun. And we can touch on it a little bit. Like I just didn't want to spend all our time talking about Champions Classic. The you can't start a game slow and finish a game poorly, and that's exactly what Kentucky did. They started down 9-0, came back, had a 14-point lead, end up blowing it in the second half. And just because and I think you don't see Justin Edwards and DJ Wagner have the games that they have if you have one of those 7-footers on there. Like you can't tell me DJ Wagner is going to get more looks at the rim because he's going to actually have a pick and roll lob threat.
And like I don't want to put this on like Adu and Burks, but like they're just not equipped to handle Hunter Dickinson.
No.
And Adu had a great first half. He was he's the ultimate like energy guy, kind of what we wished Toppin would have been last year. Whereas he goes like balls to the wall, was dunking stuff, like diving all over the place, which Kansas did. What they were able to get Kentucky kind of like out of transition. They definitely slowed the game down a ton. The refs also helped with that, which is dumb, and we'll touch on later. But like once you get the energy kind of down in a game like that, Adu doesn't have the skill set yet to really impact the game in a half court setting.
Yeah,
the way he can, or the way he did in the first half. And when he's also having to guard Hunter Dickinson, who I mean, he's obviously a good college player, great college player, but is just terribly annoying but like is just big, and he was just bigger than any of our guys. Even Trey Mitchell, whenever we put him on him, like it was
5 inches on Trey Mitchell. Like he is just taller. He's bigger, and longer. Yeah.
Pause, but
I knew that was coming.
But also pause. But no, yeah, it's just a bad matchup. If we would have had one of those 7-footers to kind of play down there and keep them from getting so many rebounds in the second half, I feel like it would have been a very different game. Or Reese doesn't go 3 for 17 from 3, which didn't feel like that he did, but then you look at it and you're like, eee.
Yeah. I mean, like at the same time, I think before the final 4 minutes, he was 4 of 8 from the field, from the 2-point, and then like I think 3 of 12. So like, or something.
I have no problem with him shooting any of them. They were good looks.
It really was as inefficient as the stat sheet says up until the final like 3 minutes or something like that. Sure. And then at that point you're in desperation mode because he was the only, like nobody else was contributing. Like really nobody else was contributing in the last 3 minutes. So
but you also in those last 4 minutes, like those were all your possessions and you came away empty on all of them, which
can't do that. You can't do that. But
you can't do that.
I don't think like it's like I listen to podcasts and stuff. Like you tell me that that you have Antonio Reeves go 3 for 17 from 3, DJ Wagner and Justin Edwards combine 1 of 18 from the field. What else? You don't have any
and
of this.
Hunter Dickinson goes 27 and 21. Yeah. And DeJuan Harris, who had taken like 2 shots all season, goes 5 for 3.
And KJ Adams Kevin McCullough has a triple double. Like
Kevin McCullough is the biggest loser ever. Yeah, he complained about every single foul call, how he did not get a technical on the last one.
Especially when like last night, Caleb Grill got ejected from the Minnesota game. Like before yelling at a ref right there in his face, doing exactly what Kevin McCullough did. Exact same thing. He got ejected in the first half. So, all right, let's move on. What's your last thing?
My last one is just a little NBA shout out, but it's shout out to Asar Thompson, who has easily been the best of the Thompson brothers, which we did not expect,
No,
and
not at all.
has is the only person whose highlight I've seen that starts with him shooting an air ball strictly because what he does after it is so cool and it's so like different than what he did to start the highlight. But he went like shot an air ball, went down, got a vicious block, and then came down the next possession and I threw an alley oop to him, and it was sick. He's
awesome.
a menace on defense, and it's like, I mean, Cade is still probably their best player, but you could make a very strong case that he has been their second best player all season, and there's a big reason why Jaden Ivey has gotten demoted to the second unit. So if you all
trade Jaden Ivey, trade Jaden Ivey, trade Jaden Ivey. The Magic need shooting bad. They need shooting so bad.
If you haven't watched any Pistons basketball, fun young team.
They just don't win a lot, unfortunately. All right.
But they're very fun.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Shark Tank upsets. Do you want to do the honors? You want me to go first?
I shall do the honors.
Okay,
all right. My team just got a big win on the road against a St. Mary's Gales team. They have also beaten unranked Benedictine Mesa 96-62. But this is the Damian Lillard sponsored Weber State Wildcats, right? Wildcats?
Yeah.
It's some sort of like bobcat looking thing. They play Yale on Saturday, and it's on a neutral court, which I think helps. Yale, obviously, shocker, shoots really well from three, but Weber State has the fifth best 3-point percentage on defense so far this year. Opponents are shooting 18.5% from three on them. They force a ton of turnovers. They have the longest average possession length on defense, so they're really, really disciplined and make teams like grind it out on offense, which Yale, I don't know if is really like able to do that. Means they force a lot of shot clock violations as well. They don't really force a ton of steals, but they're 22nd in non-steal turnover percentage forced on defense. They also don't foul, and they don't turn the ball over themselves. So I feel like all of those things kind of wrapped into one mean that they have a really good shot to beat the Yale Bulldogs on a neutral court.
Yeah, and
also I think it's in New Brunswick, which is weird. NB is where it says it is.
Yeah. Weber State, they also upset St. Mary's, yes. And people are like, oh, it's St. Mary's, whatever. Like,
no,
Dylan Jones is really good. And he's an NBA talent. This is not me saying this.
Aiden Mahaney.
Other people are saying
on Weber State.
Weber State. Other people have said this on, like Gary Parrish and Matt Norlander also think that Dylan Jones is going to be in the NBA. Like, he's good. He's a good power forward. He's 6'6", 235 pounds. Like, he's their go-to guy, number one contributor. Like, he's insane. He's the number one in Ken Palm on minutes right now, 100%. But no, they lost to Gonzaga by 15, which Gonzaga is a good squad. They're ranked 7th on Ken Palm, so it's not like that's a bad loss to lose by 17 or 15 to Gonzaga there. They have that's Yale. Yale lost to Gonzaga. I'm sorry, I picked the wrong one. But either way, Weber State, they beat St. Mary's by 5. Yes. They look good doing it too. They kind of controlled the whole game. It was back and forth a little bit, but they controlled most of the game. They held Aiden Mahaney to 11 points, 2 for 10 from 3. Like, that's hard to do. Aiden Mahaney's a good shooter, good ball player. So yeah, Dylan Jones is the MVP with that. He had 29 points, went 2 for 4 from 3, 29 points, 9 from 16 from the field. Insane. 10 rebounds. 5 turnovers didn't help. So yeah, I'm in on this. Give me the whole brewery. I'm buying on this.
Let's go.
Also, just so you listeners should know, we were both correct on our Shark Tank upsets picks this past week with Santa Clara over Stanford, and I had, what was mine? I can't remember. Providence over Wisconsin. Both of those, like, double-digit win. So you should listen to us. Maybe this will bite us in the butt, but yeah, no, I'm definitely whole brewery
We're
on this.
only ever right, and on the ones that were wrong, no, we weren't.
All right, Dow, Sharks, welcome. Butler over Michigan State. This is tonight, Friday night. First of all, no other. I shouldn't need to push anything other than Posh Alexander, but here I am saying Posh Alexander. Obviously, Michigan State's defense is pretty good, but their offense stinks out loud. Like, it is so bad. Their effective field goal percentage, 297th. They are 356th in the nation on 3-point percentage with 16%. This is gross.
Good? Is that good?
This is terrible. I get it's East Lansing, so I know it's not in Butler's favor here. They're 9.5-point dogs in this game, but I just trust this experienced backcourt with Posh Alexander. You got 6'7" Telfort, Pierre Brooks, DJ Davis. I think this is a better Butler team than Michigan State team, and I think that they're going to control this game. I really do. Butler's offense is grooving. I mean, like, it doesn't show that because of the who they played, but they don't turn the ball over a lot. They just beat St. Mary's on the. Or that's yours. I'm looking at the wrong one. They played bad teams, but they're still grooving early. And again, this is just because of how bad Michigan State's shooting is. Like, I really don't trust it. Butler's the number 1 ranked defense in effective field goal percentage, going against the 297th team in effective field goal percentage. Give me the Bulldogs and Thad Matta here.
This game is either going to be like Butler's going to eke this out, or Michigan State is going to beat them by 50, because all of the positive aggression that they're going to see from their shooting percentage is going to happen in one game, and they're just going to go absolutely bonkers.
Here's another point to sweeten the deal for you, because I know you're a height supremacist. Butler is 0.4 inches taller than or Michigan State. I think the 2 foul participation is right there with it, but this is a pretty neck and neck team in terms of bench minutes, experience, stuff like that. I do like that Butler relies more on the 3 a little bit more. And again, that's what I said last week, but I like it more this year. I don't know why. It's just sticking with me more, especially when you look at the percentage point distribution for 3-pointers for Michigan State, 11.2. I just don't think you're going to win a lot of basketball that way.
You know the way to my heart, which is 2 foul continuity and height. Now I'll go a 6-pack here. If it was in one of those tournaments, where it's a neutral court, or, well, I say that, but then they lost at home to James Madison. So
yeah.
I do think the shooting it has to go up.
But is it going to go up against a team that's ranked number 1 in effective field goal percentage on defense, and 2-point percentage on defense, and 3-point percentage on and 34th in 3-point percentage? I get the competition level.
Theoretically, no, but AJ Hoggard is 0 for 7 on the year. He's a 33% 3-point shooter. Tyson Walker is shooting 33% this year from 3. Shot 42% last year and 47% the year before. I feel like all it takes is a little bit of positive regression for them. So I'm just gonna bet on.
I think that, I'm with you, and you said you're buying a 6-pack, so I'm happy already with it. I'm with you on that. I think it's not going to come against Butler. I think it'll come against the next game against Alcorn State, or not against Arizona, but against Georgia Southern. Not against Wisconsin, but maybe Nebraska. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be they're figuring it out in the non-conference every other game. But they have a stretch. Michigan State has a stretch where they play Butler tonight, Alcorn State on Sunday. So that'll be a nice let's get right kind of game for them, because they need it. Because Thursday they play number 6 Arizona, Kim Palm number 6, obviously. If they don't get right, then if they don't have a close game, if it's a blowout, then they have 309 Georgia Southern. Then they go back to the ringer against Wisconsin, who I don't think is very good. I think Providence is fine, and they just destroyed this Wisconsin team. But then they have Nebraska, who's undefeated right now. So we'll see. Then they have Baylor. They have a lot of tough games, but then they have Oakland and Stony Brook. So they have a stretch of games where they can get right. I don't think it's coming against Butler, though. I think they're going to take back-to-back losses here, which would be kind of unheard of for Tom Izzo to take 3 losses in November, but that's what it's looking like. Maybe 4, with Arizona. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We are looking at a potential 4-loss in November team for Michigan State, which is far and away way different than anyone projected to start the year. All right. So now you have a beer for us to review tonight?
I do.
Today, this afternoon. Happy hour. It's happy hour.
Happy hour, exactly. That's what it is. Exactly. I'm just doing a happy hour.
Yeah.
All right. It is the final of my 4 New Belgium breweries. It is their triple Belgian style ale. It looks very similar to the 1755 or whatever the other one was that I reviewed a couple episodes ago. It is a Belgian style ale, 8.5% ABV. A golden, sweet, and pleasantly dry Belgian style ale is what it's called, or is what its description is. Obviously, it's New Belgium, so out of either Fort Collins or Asheville. Don't know where this one exactly is made, but they have breweries at both of those places. The one in Asheville is really cool if you ever get a chance to go. It smells very lagery almost. Ooh, interesting. Would not expect this to be 8.5%. Maybe if I got a couple more sips in, I would think differently. But like the beers that you get that are like the true German beers that you would get at Oktoberfest. It has a very similar taste to those. I'm blanking on names.
And the Oktoberfest beers,
yeah, exactly. It's like that, but a little bit more florally, like a Belgian style kind of wheat ale, sort of. I don't think it's technically a wheat ale, but
Marzen's kind of one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For the beer, again, relative crushability, I'll go a 4 there. The can design's kind of boring. It's got some little.
It's very German.
It's got some ladies on it. Yeah, we'll go 2.5. The aroma is solid. I'll go 3.5. Flavor, I'll go 4. I don't know, it just looks like beer. I don't know
I just usually give it expecting on the appearance.
Yeah, we'll go 2.5 on the appearance as well. What does that equal? 5?
Comes out to 3.3.
Which is a little bit under the Untappd ranking.
Yeah, Untappd has it at 3.59, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, the can design and the appearance, I think just judging the beer by itself, obviously I have it at what's that, a 3.8, 3.75, 3.8, something like that.
Yeah.
Solid beer. Definitely would recommend if you can get it.
Yeah. I'm also drinking my Barracuda, the last of my Barracuda. I made a beer cheese with it last night. So I made a beer cheese sauce to put on Philly cheesesteaks that I made on the Blackstone. Oh man, it was so good. I liked it a lot. The sauce was the beer cheese sauce was a little too thick. I probably need to add more milk or something to it. But overall, it's still pretty good.
I've never thought about making beer cheese. That's a good idea.
It's very easy. It was a very easy recipe I found on Pinterest. So pretty good overall. All right, let's move on to the Betalytics.com Pick'em Games of the Week. So Betalytics.com, it's a site where you could go get all your players props for whatever league that you're betting on. You could use code VSN for 25% off any package on Betalytics.com. So obviously the more expensive packages show more props, more things to look for. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great deal. Definitely go check that out. So last week or earlier this week, I'm not used to doing 2 episodes a week. I keep on saying last week. Monday through Thursday, Dowell had 8 picks correct. I had 9 picks correct. And Twitter, you guys on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it, you guys picked 8. So you were there. You guys tied on the Kansas-Kentucky pick, so we didn't give you any points for that. So yeah.
Gotta be decisive.
So we're right there. And so we're going to look at the weekend results here. So let's get into this. I haven't seen any lines for some of these, so I'm not even gonna pick mine based off lines. I'm just gonna pick it off a gut. So you ready for this, Dow?
I am.
All right. So tonight Actually, let's go in sequential order here just to make it a little bit easier. So we'll start with at 6 p.m. in Nassau, Bahamas at the Baha Mar, I think Classic is what it is. We have Kansas State taking on Providence. Who do you like in this one?
Kansas is probably like a slight favorite in this. I'm gonna go Providence. I know I watched that Kansas State game and they look pretty solid. I like Jerome Tang a lot, but I'll go Providence. They probably have the best player. So
yeah, I think Providence this is where Bryce Hopkins gets right. I don't think this Kansas State team missing Naquan Tomlin is really hurting them. Who's stopping Bryce Hopkins tonight? Devin Carter looked amazing the other night in that Wisconsin win. So yeah, give me Providence in this one as well.
Providence -1.5 is the line.
Yeah. So there we go. All right, and then at 7 we have the battle for the meth head state. We got FSU versus Florida. Give me the Gators in this one. I think they're just a better team right now. I'm not entirely sure unless they got Cohen Card coming out for FSU. I don't think that they're going to be that great. And yeah, I think Leonard Hamilton's time is coming to an end there in Tallahassee.
I disagree on that point, but I'm going Florida as well. Riley Kugel also is really good.
Yeah, Riley Kugel is good. And Florida had a really close chance to get to beat Virginia last week with some questionable late game decisions, but they were right there with it. Virginia's going to be a good team near the top or should be at the top of the ACC. So I think Florida takes care of business of FSU here.
Number one offensive rebounding team in the country as well.
It's crazy.
Florida is.
That's kind of crazy, but
yeah, it is.
All right, we have Maryland taking on Villanova at 8:30. Give me the Terps in this one. These are like both these teams had high expectations going in this season, and I think Maryland is done messing around, and Villanova is just lost, and so I like the Terrapins in this one.
Yeah, there's like the F around and find out is the thing. Villanova seems to be finding out. It's at home. I'll ride Villanova just to be a little different here. It's Nova -6 is the line. So that might be a little money line sprinkle for you tonight.
Yep, that's the plan. We also have the last game for tonight that we'll talk about at 9:30 p.m. in Las Vegas, which right now is going through. They have the F1 race tomorrow night or something like that. So apparently it's kind of crazy.
Maybe not because it might get canceled because they are stupid
manhole
and
covers or something like that. Yeah.
I saw a really good meme that had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles popping out of like a manhole cover in front of one of the F1 cars. That was really funny. Yeah.
All right, San Diego State taking on St. Mary's in Las Vegas for the Continental Tire Classic, whatever it is called. Give me the Aztecs in this one. National runner-up, national champion runner-up, and I think St. Mary's, like again, they got exposed by Weber State. I think San Diego State's going to be fine in this game, taking care of business.
Yeah, so actually, San Diego State opened a 1-point favorite and has moved to St. Mary's as a 1.5-point favorite right now. Let's see. Ooh, the under might be might be an actual play here.
Yes,
that feels on par for two very defensive-minded teams. I'll go with San Diego State as well.
All right, and then we have Saturday. The only game that I thought I looked. I mean, there's again. Here's the thing: is where there's a lot of mid tournament or multi-team events. We got a lot of tournaments going on. We don't know what the actual games are going to be for Saturday, but at the time of making this, the only game that was worth mentioning to me was Mississippi State and Washington State. So we got
other than my Weber State Yale pick.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Marquee matchups or whatever we wanted to pick them games of the week. This is the one worth mentioning here. So, the Mike Leach Bowl for basketball, and I'm going Mississippi State here. I think they are defensively, they are further along than I thought they would be, and offensively, same thing. You know, they're playing inspired ball.
Yeah, I agree. Mississippi State is just better than Washington State, especially on a neutral floor where Washington State has to travel across the country. I don't know how much that actually matters, but people that
Being played
know
in
stuff
Connecticut.
always say it, so like I figured it probably matters some.
Yeah.
The only other matchup to even remotely talk about is the battle for Boston, where Harvard is playing at Boston College at 5 o'clock. If you are looking to tune in, actually, like you said, there are going to be a bunch of better games with the tournaments playing themselves out here, but that is just a funny matchup as well.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at here. We have Sunday. We have Boise State taking on Clemson. This was an interesting. This is the number one thrill scorer game on Ken Palm. What do you think of this one?
I mean, I'm a PJ Hall super fan, even though you took him in our draft. I'm interested to see this because Boise's around 60th in Ken Palm. They got a good win over San Francisco. Their schedule is actually really, really solid. They, other than Vanguard, who they started the year off with, they played Clemson, Virginia Tech, St. Mary's, and North Texas, all of whom are top 90 teams in Ken Palm currently. They also play Washington State later, and then the Mountain West is actually going to be pretty solid. There's a couple other teams: Nevada, New Mexico, Colorado State are all solid. So Boise, if they can win the next couple games, they would have a pretty solid tournament resume. In all honesty, but I'm going to go Clemson here just because I like PJ Hall.
I'm actually going to go Boise here because if you look at Clemson, you watch them, they had a blowout win over Winthrop, won by 22. But then they really should have lost that UAB game, and they probably should have lost that Davidson game as well. Those are just two good games, obviously, and they played lesser opponents. This is going to be the best opponent Boise's facing so far this season,
True.
or that Clemson's faced so far this season. Boise's look good. They beat San Francisco 63-58. Vanguard, again, nothing crazy, but like you said, San Francisco there, 88th ranked. So I think Boise's up for it. Their defense travels. We talk about that pretty much all the time on this podcast, and they both have good defenses. I think Clemson struggled late game scenarios, and they got a little help from the ref against UAB. So give me Boise in this one.
We'll say that this game is at Littlejohn, whereas those two games they played close against UAB and Davidson were both neutral sites, which shook up a little bit. But I would not be shocked at all if Boise pulls this one out.
Yeah. All right. Then we have at 1 o'clock, same time as the Clemson game, in Madison Square Garden, we have UConn taking on Indiana. This one's tough because I want to say just UConn. I mean, they're a better team, but they just lost Stephon Castle. Indiana, they need a big win, like nobody's business. But I'm gonna go UConn here. Still gonna go with. I think they are the better team, even without Stephon Castle. Even though I do love me some Khalil Ware, I just don't trust Indiana right now.
How long is he supposed to be out again?
He'll be back by conference play. Is what I think is what's said.
Good. I really like Stephon Castle a lot. Was excited to watch him play. No, my thought process for the Wright State upset applies here even more so. As good as Wright State was at offensive rebounding, Connecticut is even better. They are. Hold on, I just had it up. They are the second best offensive rebounding team in the country. Indiana does not rebound the ball well, despite having two large players in Khalil Ware and Malik Renault. They also are just unstoppable on offense, shooting 73% from 2-point range right now. I think that there are ways that you can beat this Connecticut team, but I do not think that Indiana is set up well to beat them. So I'm going to go UConn.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, last game we're talking about 5 p.m. at USF. We have Northern Iowa taking on USF. South Florida, as Ken Palm would like to say. This is an interesting game because they both kind of stink. But that's why I like picking it, because it's just fun. USF shoots a lot, so they're not good at making them. The 329th, but they shoot a lot. Now, Northern Iowa's offense or defense, they suck at defending the three. So I think it's gonna be fun.
This is a like an immoral like relative is
Yeah,
the unmovable force or unmovable object meets
and then move.
unstoppable force.
Yeah,
And that Northern Iowa's offense is pretty solid, and South Florida's defense is pretty solid. And then you look at the flip side, and South Florida's offense is absolutely awful, and Northern Iowa's defense is also absolutely awful.
yes,
So it'll be funny to just like something has to budge on one of those two matchups. But
yep.
it's normally you talk about like, oh, this team's weakness lines up with this team's like
Strength or whatever. Yeah,
strength, and like it's the opposite here where
yeah.
you're meeting strength on strength versus weakness on weakness. So this should be a fun game. Um, who did you go again?
I'm going USF. I'll go with the home team here for
All right, I'll go
Florida.
Northern Iowa just to be different. We didn't have too many that we differed on today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's it for the betalytics.com pick'em games of the week. Make sure you go check each day, vote on Twitter. And yeah, so do you have a trivia question for us before we get to last call?
I do have a trivia question. We talked about how Mizzou came back against Minnesota after being down 20 points. Exciting stuff. That is the third biggest comeback in the country so far this year. On
Wake is
Tuesday,
one.
there was a
I know Wake is one because they were down 20 at one point. They came back and won by 20, right?
who my question is who is the biggest comeback in the country this year?
Is it Wake? That's my answer.
It is not, but that is a correct it's correct conference.
Oof. I don't know. ACC. Who?
They have a new coach this year.
I don't remember. Who's new in the ACC this year?
Their old coach was really really old.
I don't know, dude.
Wake versus Elon coming back from down 21 is the number 2 comeback. It is Syracuse came back from down 24 against Colgate.
That's right. I forgot about that. That was earlier this week too. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was crazy. So yeah, that's insane comeback. There's been a lot of those big swing games. I mean, look at Kentucky. They were down 9, came back, went up 14, then end up losing. You know, like they never got down by more than 5 in that Kansas game. But just insane. The swing there of score. So cool. All right. Well, now it's time for last call. I'll go first since you went first last time. Multi-team events, Feast Week, early season tournaments, they're just as fun as March Madness. So tune in. I know there's college football on. I know there's NFL on. I know there's a lot of sports to consume, and you're like college basketball is just not as good of a product. It's better this year, as you can see. The refs are a little bit more relaxed this year, it seems like, for the most part.
It's funny because I'm about to complain about refs for my last call, but they are better this year.
Yeah, they are. They really are. I mean, like there's still some questionable things that I think is beyond their control. But overall, I still enjoy it. Obviously, I'm going to watch basketball, enjoy it no matter what. But yeah, so tune in on these games. If you like, be a sicko, make your friend tune in on these games. If you have the ability to put a game on TV, do that because some of these games are better than the college football games that we'll get this week, and that's just straight up facts. So.
Absolutely. Also, talking about Betalytics, you can employ the Conner and Dowell method of just betting $1 on games, and it is very fun, and you get the same amount of endorphins and dopamine that you would get on a normal betting, but without the financial risk, or at least like relative to actually
very fun.
betting a lot of money.
Because you could take, I mean, like, especially it depends on the parlays, especially with player props and like in football and stuff. You could take $1 and turn it into like 50 very easily. Just like it's very fun to do that. So highly suggest it. Just make sure you're picking right, obviously. So listen to us for your picks for the most part.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's your last call?
Mine is that refs still suck, and they have so much control over the game. That Kentucky game was super fun. There were 15 fouls called in the first half, and then each team had 15 fouls in the second half. How we continue to let that happen is beyond me. But I do love that they are being way more lenient on charges, and it's not as quick of a trigger on charges as it normally is. So as opposed to normal where all we do is talk about how bad refs are, it is nice that they are at least letting transition play get more into the flow, because the elimination of the super easy charge call has really made it much more just enjoyable, even if they're still obviously fouls are still occurring, so that it doesn't impact the flow of the game, because obviously there's still a stoppage, whatever. But it is just enjoyable to not have to be all right, why are we unable to get a single charge call right? It seems like that they are better at that this year. So
now I just got to take care of the continuity calls, because that was ridiculous in the Kentucky practice game.
What was that?
It was whistle, 3 seconds later, shoot.
Whistle, jump stop, step through, and layup. And we call continuity I don't know, man.
Yeah. You shouldn't be able to make 2 moves after the whistle was blown and the basket count, but whatever. All right. Let's get out of here. So this has been fun. You can check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Beards and Buckets Pod. Make sure that you're following along on Twitter and voting every day. We want to engage with you. We want to hang out with you and talk ball with you. So make sure you're doing that. If you're on YouTube, watch on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share this video, like this video. It helps with the algorithm. Please do that. And if you have the second, go leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That helps out a bunch as well. So we really appreciate it. And it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And this is the bottom line, as Conner said. So you guys have a fantastic weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.